The February 2024 murder of ex-prison officer Lenny Scott by repeat violent offender Elias Morgan was 4 years in the making. In the UK, we keep hearing about prison officers getting banged up themselves for things like bringing illicit substances into prisons and, even more notoriously, for shagging prison inmates. In March 2020, father of three Lenny Scott from Lancashire, North England, though, refused a £1,500 bribe from an inmate by the name of Elias Morgan at Altcourse prison in Liverpool, northwest England. The payment was to get Mr. Scott to keep quiet about the phone that he had found in Morgan's possession and which he, Mr. Scott, had duly confiscated. Picking up on my mention of prison officers getting locked up for having a sexual relationship with inmates, which is charged under the offence of misconduct in public office, or MIPO, Sarah Williams, a former prison officer at HMP Altcourse, is, as I record this, doing time for having had a sexual relationship with Elias Morgan, Morgan's phone having provided evidence of that. Now viewer, if I've got you hooked on the story so far, do subscribe, give the video a like, drop a comment when you're ready and donate. Hit the thanks button below, I'll appreciate you. As you can now see, Morgan's attempt to silence Mr. Scott over the phone wasn't simply to avoid punishment for being in possession of a phone, because prisoners aren't allowed to have phones. The man knew how serious the consequences of the discovery of his sexual liaisons with Sarah Williams could be. In handing the phone over to investigators though, Mr. Scott was acting in accordance, of course, with his professional duty. Born in either 1989 or 1990, Morgan had once taken part in an £83,000 bank robbery in which staff were threatened with machetes. He also had convictions for theft, conspiracy to rob, drugs offences and for causing serious injury by dangerous driving. Having been released in 2022, when he executed Mr. Scott, as he did on the 8th of February 2024, he was 11 days away from his trial relating to his sexual interactions with a prison officer. Morgan perpetrated Mr. Scott's execution, moreover, exactly as he had threatened to, the man having told Mr. Scott that for passing the phone on to investigators, he would kill him, but that he would bide his time. These threats having been accompanied with a gun gesture of his. He did a two-finger pointing thing, the way that kids do. At the time of the shooting, Mr. Scott himself, who was then aged 33, was no longer working as a prison officer. In response to an incident from 2021, you see, which involved the restraint of another prisoner, he was sacked, and sorry, but I couldn't trace any further details to the matter. Now, whatever that might make us think of Mr. Scott, can we please keep in mind that he was innocent and that Morgan had no right to do what he did to him. So, on the 8th of February 2024, 4 whole years after he first threatened to kill Mr. Scott, which was in line with his intention to wait a while before getting his own back on Mr. Scott by murdering him, Morgan waited for 53 minutes outside the gym on Peel Road in Skelmersdale for Mr. Scott to leave his jiu-jitsu practice. At 7:35 p.m, the moment when Mr. Scott duly emerged from the gym, Morgan, who for reasons that I'm about to share was wearing a high-vis orange jacket, walked up to him, pointed his self-loading handgun at him and shot him all of 6 times at close range. Mr. Scott dropped dead. Morgan, meanwhile, promptly took flight in a van that had been left nearby the previous evening by his close friend Anthony Clary, aged 29. Anthony's story is coming up. The preparation that Morgan did both for the murder and for the subsequent cover-up revealed the extent of the man's careful planning and premeditation. The preparation included the discovery of Mr. Scott's movement. The man literally stalked Mr. Scott, where Mr. Scott lived with his partner and his 3 very young children, the gym that he used in Skelmersdale, plus a recce drive by Morgan to the said places a month before the shooting.
Hello, may I please?
I'm an officer at HMP Altcourse. I've been informed that there's been a car set outside my house all weekend by a prisoner, and I believe it's there at the moment.
Is there anyone at home who can confirm it?
Confirm which, sorry?
That the car's outside?
Well, they're not aware, because I don't really want to alarm them, because
You're going to have to get someone to look out to see if there's a car.
Okay, well, they're not going to sit directly outside it, because it's a prisoner threatening my family.
Right, okay, so what's your name, please?
Lenny Scott.
Is that Lenny Scott?
Yeah.
Lenny, what's your date of birth, love?
15th of the 10th, 1990.
And who's made the threat?
Elias Morgan. He's described my family and me to a T. Described my house. He said he's had them there, just ready for because it's over. I've nicked them for a phone.
Ah, right.
And
okay.
he's until I drop there, he said to stay in there, and they're just going to constantly be around my house and.
Right. Okay.
Just in fear for my family's life. That's all.
Okay. And has he described the vehicle at all?
No, he hasn't. He said he's got lads everywhere, so he says he's described my vehicle and he's described my house and what my girlfriend and twin boys look like.
Is there any way that he's excuse my French, but is he chatting over this?
No, I believe this is real. Yeah, it's too specific because my twins, they're twins, but they've got different colour hair.
Yeah. So
it's just a bit. He's got everything to a T. He knows. He's described me everything. Yeah, an iPhone he had. So and he reckons it's going to incriminate him. So that's why he's going to these lengths.
Right. When was this?
That was Friday. He said he's had people sat outside all weekend.
Has anyone reported anything to you, like your family, or have you noticed anyone?
Recently a couple over the road, I believe they're dealing anyway,
right.
Has moved in, so I've just assumed any car that was there or hovering was to do with them.
So he's described your house, yeah?
Yeah, my vehicle.
Are your family at home at the moment?
Yeah. I don't know what's best, whether to tell her or... Sorry if you think I'm wasting time.
No, you really not.
Yeah.
So at home is it your partner or your wife?
Wife. No, partner.
What's her name, please?
Lucy Griffiths.
And kids, the twins, is it just the twins?
Yeah.
And is this your mobile? No, it's not.
I've rang from the jail, sorry.
Do you know what? I'd be tempted just to carry on so they don't see you going home. Is there any chance you can then get your girlfriend to meet with you? Does she drive?
She doesn't drive, no.
She doesn't drive? All right.
No.
In that case, you would have to go home, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not, personally, it's not, I can deal with whatever, I'm fine with that, it's them.
Is he from Merseyside?
Yeah, I think speak.
As soon as the next available car will get deployed, we'll ask them to ring you rather than have a patrol and go to your house.
Yeah.
Because obviously we don't know you're going to play with your missus, and also we don't want to alert them that you've contacted us. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, love. It's log 217, like I said. If you just try and bear with us on that, and we'll get the next available patrol to make contact with yourself.
Thanks very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care now.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. Bye, love.
Morgan also obtained an e-bike, which was carried in the van that his friend Anthony, as I just mentioned, dropped off for him in Daybrook the night before the shooting. Daybrook is just a few minutes away from the gym in Peel Road where Mr. Scott was gunned down. Morgan used another vehicle to travel from Liverpool to Skelmersdale. It was a Mercedes GLC which was registered to his mother. He got to Skelmersdale around an hour before the shooting, because remember I said he waited for Mr. Scott for 53 minutes. However, he parked a short distance away from the gym in order, of course, to avoid suspicion. The e-bike, meanwhile, was used by Morgan to travel quietly to and from the scene in a rehearsal of the route for the shooting. Morgan wore the said high-vis orange jacket so that after the shooting he could remove it and make it harder for him to be identified as the shooter. The van, the bike and the gun had never to this day been recovered, Morgan having disposed of those things with utmost efficiency. So how did Morgan get caught then? A few days after murdering Mr. Scott, he returned to Skelmersdale and changed the number plate of the Mercedes that he had used to get to the town on the night of the murder, and then he moved the vehicle to another location. He subsequently repeated those two steps twice more in an effort, as is obvious I'd say, to throw police off the scent of the car. The perpetrator even went to the extent of removing the SOS unit from the car, sorry but I don't know what that is, fearing as he did that its manufacturer's SIM card might provide data of the vehicle's movement. Unluckily for Morgan, however, he didn't know that there was another manufacturer's SIM card which provided the telematics data that the police needed, and that's how the man got caught. When he was subsequently arrested, Morgan went no comment in each of his police interviews.
These officers will speak to you and explain to us. Yeah. Everything's on camera, it's just...
Right, Elias.
That's room 3, 1 second. That's room.
Yeah.
Do you
want to open that room for us?
Sorry, can I use the room?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on, secure your rating for us.
Yeah. Elias, it's 11 o'clock, mate. You're under arrest on suspicion of murder, right? Yeah. You don't have to say anything, but in my army defence, if you don't mention one question, something which you later violate in court. Yeah. Anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you understand? No reply? Alright, reason for that, mate. Prompt and effective investigation, mate. Alright, so we can interview you over the matter. Alright? Is that way for us? You got bills on underneath me, yeah?
No, don't wear bills then.
You haven't?
No.
What have you got here?
Money.
What's that?
No more than 250. 290. 290.
Can you go around your waistband, mate? Yeah. Spin around for us. And again.
As for his friend Anthony, after initially being charged with Mr. Scott's murder alongside Morgan, Anthony was cleared of that charge in court after convincing the jury that he had no knowledge that the e-bike and the van that he had been in charge of were being used in a murder. He also betrayed Morgan with his courtroom testimony that rather than having been, quote, seeing a man about a dog, unquote, in Liverpool at the time of the shooting, as Morgan had claimed, the perpetrator had called him that night to say that he had, quote, done someone in Skem, unquote, and that Anthony should get rid of his phone. Lenny Scott is sorely missed, not just by his 3 little kids, but also by many others.
The murder of the deceased has caused profound grief to the deceased's family, his young children, and to all who knew him. He was 33 years old, with much of his life ahead of him. He was loved, respected, and made his family proud. The attempts by you during the trial to blacken his character have been rejected by the jury. In the victim's personal statements, this court has heard the very moving statements from his mother, Paula Scott, his father, Neil Scott, and his former partners, Lucy Carnhill and Lucy Griffiths, the mother of his children, who must all bear their suffering for the rest of their lives.
On the 2nd of September 2025 at Preston Crown Court, Morgan got life with a minimum term of, wait for it, 45 years. This is way longer than the typical sentence for murder here in the UK, and with good reason.
In addition to the very significant degree of planning, is that this was a revenge killing of the deceased for what he did lawfully as part of his duty as a serving prison officer. There is an important public interest in making the killing of prison and police officers in the course of their duty exceptionally serious. This is expressly reflected within Schedule 21 of the Sentencing Act 2020. Whilst the deceased was not acting in the course of his duty when he was murdered, because he was no longer a prison officer, the killing was carried out because of what he lawfully did when he was acting in the course of his duty. It was revenge threatened by you when the deceased was a prison officer. The public interest in making the murder of former prison and police officers for their lawful actions while serving officers must require, in my judgment, sentencing on the basis that it is of particular seriousness to a very high degree.
Taking away the 15 months that he'd already served on remand before his murder trial, Morgan will be around 79 before he becomes eligible to apply for parole. If this video has gripped you, I recommend you to watch this one next. I'll meet you there.